All right, first I would like to acknowledge traditional owners and custodians of the land where we're presenting. And I would like to pay respect. I also would like you to join me in big round of applause for volunteers, sponsors, and organizers to put in the event together. The events like this are getting scarce, so it's good to see the community actually getting together and celebrating to what we achieved. Again, in our part of the world, it's something to be cherished, considering the state of the meetups and everything that's happening around. I also thank you for coming to the DrupalSouth Community Day, because without you, it won't be possible. So thank you for buying the tickets, sponsoring, presenting, volunteering, and just turning up. Okay, so quickly about me. I'm Vladimir. I'm based in Brisbane. I teach open source in various capacities, including TAFE. I contribute to open source, and I'm also a consultant. All right, so today we have only half an hour, and this topic was an interest of mine for quite a while, but I didn't have time to grasp on it, so hands-on for a few years now. And this year I was lucky enough to be on a project where we could have used it, but didn't. So I thought, it's actually a good presentation for my client as well, because you don't necessarily have to implement the whole analytics thing inside the Drupal or your content management of choice. So today we're going to talk about Matomo. What is Matomo? How to get it? What does it include? We're going to talk about Matomo and Drupal integration. And I'm going to talk a bit about case study and why am I presenting about it. Okay, so from here on, again, I don't have many slides. So I know a few people ask about slides, and March actually said. But this session is recorded, and I will be posting it as on DrupalSouth account in the near future. So feel free to pin me or March. The video should be available for this session. So how many people use Matomo or previously know as Pivik? I know a few did. Okay. So it's about 6 people raised their hands. So Matomo is basically your Google Analytics without using Google. So it's a standalone system. It sits wherever you host it, or in the cloud. They do provide this. Service. So you can actually use cloud offering. You don't have to install then anything. You pay your money, and you store your analytics there. Or you can install it locally, which is what I'm going to talk about today. So as you can see from the top features on their websites, so there is a Google Analytics importer. So you can actually import data from Google Analytics. You can track personal data up to a user. 100% accurate data. Well, they wrote it there. I'm not going to question that. It is open source. It has no data limitation and easy to use. So let's have a look at the Matomo website and its features. So here's the website. You can try it for free. And it takes you straight to the account. You don't have to create an account with them. In fact, you can see on top there are use cases. There are cloud and on-premise. And I was interested in intranet analytics. Why? Because one of the clients is a federal government client, and they built the analytics engine into a Drupal, and about 5 years ago. So if you're not a technical person, you probably don't know how much data is stored when individual user connects to a website, and that's a lot. So depending on what you're tracking, your database is getting hammered and hammered and hammered. So if client comes in, or some of your stakeholders comes in and say, we need analytics for your module, or we need analytics to track these users, to track the user roles, to track page views, very bad idea to actually build it as a part of your system. It works, but obviously there are performance issues and others, especially if your website is a high traffic website. So actually writing in the same database as Drupal is not very good. My client did that, and all they asked me to is actually improve, because the analytics they wrote wasn't working. So they said, oh, things change. Can we track it again? So we built a dashboard, and the requirement was quite simple, right? So requirement was we cannot get Google Analytics. In fact, this website is closed. It's intranet website. So we need a few dashboards. One dashboard is active users. Another dashboard is what are the popular pages. Third one is a search, so search integration. And the fourth one was just how popular it is with different roles. What are the heat maps of the roles? So they have about 30 different roles, so it's 30. So a lot of users. And they wanted to see what sort of documentation. It's a documentation website, but again, it's closed. There's no access to Google Analytics. So I thought, oh, I remember that Pivik thing I used about 10 years ago. So it now rebranded as Matomo. And one of the use cases is actually using intranet analytics. So there are a couple of screenshots you can see here and how it looks. We are going to go on the back of the interface and back of the Drupal and see how it's installed. I'm just showing you as well how to navigate their website so you won't get stuck. You obviously can Google search or whatever AI search you're using and see how that's going to go. I found, though, using AI search, some documentation ChatGPT got was out of date. So the instructions I received are very, very mixed. So you get about 50-50 chance of getting either old documentation and something that doesn't work. It's also very bad once we go inside the dashboard. I'll put it here. If we go inside the dashboard, I'll show you that the menu on the left seems like changed a few times. And the AI still remembers the old ways of doing things. So you can say it's it doesn't really give you the latest. So sometimes it say go to observability menu, and I still couldn't find the observability menu, or it just came up with it on the spot. So be careful if you're using AI for the search and how to do things with Matomo, although generally it does give you the right direction. Although again, I found that you spend more and more time of actually trying to figure out what's the correct menu is. So here is a dashboard. I logged in. It's installed locally. It's written in PHP, and it's using MySQL database. So a lot of analytics systems that you can actually install, they use NoSQL database because it's much easier to write and faster. Matomo is using MySQL and PHP, so which I didn't find any problems with. I do monitor my websites with, but this is just a local example, so I install it there. I found one of the technical caveats. If you're installing it locally, I couldn't find a way to make it work apart from PHP 8.4, which is the latest version of PHP until next week. Next week is 8.5 is out. So 8.3 gives this low-level PHP crash, and I tried to find it. It might be specific to Mac, but this is just a warning. So if you're on Mac, trying to use Docker containers or any other AMP system, I tried on both. It crashes on PHP 8.3 and 8.2, although it says it's supported. So there is some issue. This error is fixed in 8.4, so it seems like some PHP issue in case you'll get frustrated. So just for the record. Okay, and you can see that the dashboard is here. We can look at users over time. There's lots of menus here and there. There's a configuration and tag manager as well. So what I did, I installed brand new Drupal website. Let's see if we'll find it. Is it here? Yep. So here's my website. So I installed two modules. The core module, Matomo Analytics, comes with a tag manager and analytics itself. And if we'll go to page, which I like to do just to see how popular it is. So there are a couple of maintainers there, which is always good, better than one. You can see it's used by officially by 30,000, which is medium to large size of usage of Drupal module, considering it's a very specific and unique thing. And you can see there is a couple of versions. Both of them were released this year, although earlier in this year. So it's relatively maintained. It's in a good shape. And you can see there are a couple of versions running around. So you can go and install it. So after installing the version, go to your Drupal website, go to Matomo Analytics, and you go configure. It's pretty simple. It says, what's the URL of your Matomo? Which is, for me, it's a local URL. It also supports HTTP in some cases. If you don't have like properly signed certificates, I want to test that. It gave me ID 1, which was a bit confusing when I was trying to connect it. I was expecting something like Google Analytics GA357823, but it was ID 1. At the same time, in my dashboard here, go back. So it's when you install it, the installation process is quite straightforward, right? So you create a user, admin user, you log in. But once you edit it, you can't see. It kind of gives you this default website, and you don't see where you can edit. So your configuration is your friend. So here you can actually see the websites, and from websites you can go and do manage. Here you can add different measurables, as well as different websites. So you can add a new measurable, so you can actually have different things, which is website and intranet website. So website track visitors interaction like page, view, clicks, downloads, and events on a public-facing website, whereas intranet website track internal site that are only accessible within your organizational network. So there are a few tweaks here and there you can use to actually track a specific website. So if I'll put intranet website, put a name, different URLs. It supports multiple URLs with www, but you can actually have multiple in case you have like site dot and downloads dot. You can actually track different URLs as well. You can exclude local IPs, add parameters, and all this stuff. So you can go and read through the whole thing. And there is also a big e-commerce versus not e-commerce website, so there is additional set of features allowed if you're using e-commerce and conversion and so on and so forth. So again, your friend is settings. If you lost, feel free to go and go to the settings, and that's where you'll find how to add the website. Wasn't straightforward once you install things, or if you inherit the system, which is a common thing for us. So you'll spend a bit of time just going around here. Here you'll find other things like, is your system up to date? You can check that. Plugins, privacy. So there are, especially for our European friends who are for front on the privacy area, there is a GDPR overview, tools, consent, and it actually, when you go ask to things not to track you or to track you, it actually does things like properly not tracking users if users ask for it. If you go and configure the GDPR tools or the list. Now, any questions so far? Easy pathway. Yep. Yeah, so it actually has an importer here. I haven't used it myself, but let's see if we can go and find it. There was another question while I'm doing the thing. Yep. We're going to get to plugin market. So obviously it's not as vast as Google Analytics, and Google made a lot of money on it. So I found the best way to search for the documentation, as you saw just now. I just Google it, and here's a specific page for Google Analytics. So import to Matomo Cloud recommended. So if you sign up with the cloud, Matomo with the cloud, there is already tools there, and it supports GA3 and GA4. So you basically go to System Analytics. That's in the cloud. So on premise, let's see. So as you can see here from the menu, you can port backup of your GA reports and importing data. It says go to navigation system, Google Analytics import. I actually didn't see it on my machine, so it might be a plugin here, as you can see. So here's the settings. There's no Google Analytics there. So there are plugins, manage plugins. So there is no plugins here, so it might be on Marketplace as well. I didn't import any data from Google as yet, but that's something I'll probably investigate for the next presentation. Yeah, go for it.
One is just have an API.
Can you repeat that again?
You install Drupal site to track that call.
Yep. So we're going to talk about it next. So the question was, can you, I showed there's a Drupal site that I configured. Can you do it from any other website? Yes, you can. It works exactly the same as Google Analytics. They give you an ID, but they also give you a snippet of JavaScript you can put anywhere. And also Tag Manager. Once you install Tag Manager, it works very similar to Google Tag Manager. It adds the measurables, and you can have up to 5 measurables there. So for example, if you want to track specific content types of Drupal, right, you can send one measurable. If you want to track what one of my requirements was track specific user roles. So I want administrator versus editor from marketing department versus editor from data collection department. You can track all those. So you can, again, you don't have to use Drupal specifically. It works with anything, including actually apps. So you can also configure your web apps to also work with Matomo and send the data to Matomo as well. No, I said that one of my requirements for the projects were that they already build analytics inside the same Drupal database. This is completely separate database and completely different system. What I didn't like about installing Matomo is there is no composer way to install it. So you basically download in the zip and unzip it, follow the instructions, connect to a database. It creates the configuration file, right? You can also do it on your managed hosting of choice as well. So I had successfully implemented it on Upsound Platform SH. But if you implemented it on any other, I'm sure there are you can do it as easy on Amazy and other stuff. Just make sure that the configuration file has all the permissions, which the page here is very nicely set up to actually give you all the system information and what's required or what's not. But it's a completely separate database, and that's one of the advantages, because if you keep writing stuff in there, it's actually, again, your website is not getting hammered. Another thing, if you go to the instructions, they will tell you that you can install kind of database cluster, one for reading and one for writing. So it's actually, there are ways to set it up, even like if you're getting a lot of hits, you will optimize it even further. Now, talking about Tag Manager, there are measurables, as I mentioned before. For example, two most used cases is a user role and content type from Drupal. So things like if you're using page versus blog page, you can do that. I opened the article on variables. The big yellow sign here says the variables are deprecated. So if you go to Drupal, here, when you install your website, you can configure a bunch of things here. And one of them is actually custom variables. This is what deprecated. If you go now to Matomo and add the measurables, which is a new way to do it, you'll find that this data won't translate directly into the measurables. Variables are going away, they deprecated them, and they're saying we're going to remove them in the future releases of the thing. So if you find you follow the instructions and the original instructions I got from Gemini AI, they said add stuff here, then go to your Matomo and add the variables. I spent like an hour looking for the variables and where they are. I realized they were renamed as measurables, and now they're also sitting under configuration. Custom dimensions. And this is now dimensions and measurables. So there's a lot of slang going on, and it's not sometimes clear which is old, which is new, and how to connect them. The only way I found to post dimensions from the Drupal at the moment is actually use a piece of JavaScript they provide you within the documentation. So this is variables, this is custom dimensions, and difference about custom dimensions and custom variables. They're a bit longer, they're a bit more flexible, and here's a lot of pages on how to create and manage the measurables. So things like, again, sending user role, a sending page, you actually have to add the JavaScript to specific pages, which is quite easily done with Drupal, either with Asset Manager or your developer can do that for you. And off you go. This way, you actually will be sending things into dimensions and collect the data. Once you add this measurable, as you can see on my dashboard here, there's user roles. So measurable user roles added, and the dashboard is quite customizable here, so you can actually go and add all sorts of different metrics and customize it. I found, I guess because my website is hosted locally and I used about 5 different browsers, it kind of got confused which countries I'm coming from. I didn't use VPN, but as you can see the heat map, there is because the browser language was British, it thought I'm from England. Because another like Brave browser had the American, it thought I came from US. So that might be again something either kind of local thing, but for measures from when I'm actually running on my company websites, they seem to be a bit more accurate. So be aware of that. If you rely on the heat map, if your company is widely distributed, there might be some things depending on the browser. Again, these all hits were hit from this machine without any VPN included. And again, VPN probably wasn't hit because again, everything is local. So it does get a bit confused on visitors map, something visual, but everything else was fine. And you can see again, just talking about the reports, it gives you something very similar to the analytics. So you have different choices. You can do it per day, per week, per month, per year, or a specific date range. So you can actually generate the reports. You can do visit log. One of the requirements, as I mentioned before, was real time. Originally, when you install Matomo, it doesn't track the users individually. As you can see, there is a session here. You need to go into settings in Drupal and say, yes, I allow users to be tracked. And then even further, on each individual user account, there is when you log in, there is like don't track with Matomo as well, which is nice integration if you want your users opt in or opt out of specific things. I found the actions a quite cool thing. So because I connected users to the search, so there's search integrations through Drupal, it actually tells you, oh, this user visited these pages, did this search, and yeah, that's the whole track. So if you go to individual user, here we go. So you can see number of visits, what they did, which pages they visited. Again, you need to configure that. That's not out of the box. Out of the box, it doesn't track the individual user. It does track the session, whereas I opt in to do the whole thing there. There is a search integration, as I mentioned before. If we look at the dashboard here, oh, search site keywords disappeared, maybe because, there you go. So there is few things I search, and that was one of the requirements again that the client said. They wanted to know which search resulted in each pages. Search result pages is quite a mystery to me. I'm not sure what it represents. It's either 1 or 2. So I'm yet to dig in what's there. The client requirements, which I'm still working on, was we want to know which role use which keyword and how many search results were delivered. So obviously it's a custom measurement that I want to add, and I thought search result pages would be something that I want to know. In fact, Matomo, an anonymous user, should have returned 0 results and says 1 page. So it might refer to how many search pages there, and logged in user return search result pages 2. So again, some analytics is not very clear, but there's something to explore as well. Keep going. There are visitors information on the left, as you can see. So you can see visits logs. We saw that before. This is tied to individual session. If you actually want username, this is anonymized by default, but you need to configure it even further if you want to see specific user email, or if you don't want to email gets exposed and your privacy doesn't allow that, you can do user role or another abstract ID. At the moment, it's just a session. So there is also behaviors. So different behaviors, as you can see, it gives you the behaviors result, gives you how many people went to different pages, and unique page views, bounce rates, and standard analytics stuff. You can track your downloads if you have file downloads, and so on and so forth. Page titles, site search, again, seamlessly integrated into Drupal search. For other sites and other systems, you need to actually write a JavaScript plugin to do that. Acquisitions, you can set the goals, especially for the marketing sites, and you can put it there. Now, the last thing I want to show you is, so that's where you add the goals. The last thing I want to show you is premium features. So as you can see, half of the menu on the left-hand side on the dashboard is premium features. You can start your free trial. Basically, they say paying for the premium features allows us to support open source and contribute to open source. So there is things like funnels. If you're in the marketing, you can track the forms. The forms by default is not allowed. Again, you can implement it through a JavaScript. But if you want forms integrations, you need to buy a plugin, A/B test, heat maps, even session recordings to see if you use one of the systems that actually tracks what user does. You can do that as well with Matomo. And even website crashes for developers to have some insights. You can also do that. This concludes our 30 minutes quick introduction to Matomo. If you have any questions, feel free to pin me. I will be floating around. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope it gave you some idea what analytics is and how you can use it. And if you have any advanced questions, again, I'm available online. Here's my QR code. Please give a big round of applause again for volunteers, sponsors, and organizers.